This week in Jamaica Now, the latest following the Jacks Hill fire that lasted for more than 2 days. Opposition calls for more food storage facilities as dry spell continues. Another case of chikungunya in Jamaica, how the health ministry is responding. And damage control mode. Jamaicans for Justice appoints interim board chairman following fallout over sex ed program. The details of these and other stories coming up after the break.
Reach anyone, anywhere in the world with the Gleaner Online. Rich media, interactive banner ads, dynamic page wraps. With over 319,000 video views per month, place your video ad online and target select countries, states, and even cities. Increase, target, track.
I'm Carleen Brown, and this is Jamaica Now. Fear gripped residents of Jacks Hill and nearby communities in St. Andrew last week as a massive bushfire threatened their property. One house was destroyed in the blaze that lasted for more than 2 days. It took approximately 40 firefighters, 3 units, and air support from the Jamaica Defense Force to bring the inferno under control. Late Sunday night, the anxiety intensified when the fire was at its worst.
The fire swung across here, went over on that side at the back of the premises and caught that side of land with bananas and other food crops. It was 3,000 rota pines on there.
And you lost all of them?
All of them burned. And it went across to the banana field and burned up everything on the yam around there. Coming down, and it was coming down to the apron. Right. Then I had to get rough with the fire people. Then they came.
And the Jamaica Fire Brigade continues to urge Jamaicans not to light fires, especially given the dry spell affecting the country. In the meantime, the National Solid Waste Management Authority, NSWMA, is seeking legislative backing to prosecute persons who burn garbage and other debris in their communities. NSWMA Executive Director Jennifer Edwards says her organization is seeking to include in its regulations the power to take action against persons who light garbage and burn other material in communities. She says the regulations are now before the Office of the Chief Parliamentary Counsel. In recent times, the police have warned members of the public against lighting open fires. The opposition spokesman on agriculture, J.C. Hutchinson, wants the building of more food storage facilities. According to Mr. Hutchinson, the current dry spell, which has resulted in a shortage of some produce, highlights the need for a more structured approach to agriculture. He wants an expansion of industrial complexes to make more space available for the processing and storing of food.
This agricultural complex is one where you have a grading, packaging, processing plant, and also cold storage. All produce coming off of the farm would be carried there, processed, and stored. This is when there is a glut. You have it at this point in time when you have a drought, when you have the dry period, and you have scarcity of produce. You then release the produce to the market. And this would help also to stabilize the price.
Acting Agriculture Minister Derek Kelly has said that there is no need for panic about a possible food shortage because of the dry spell. Mr. Kelly said while the situation is serious, it is not catastrophic. He also said there's enough produce to supply local needs and efforts are being made to increase production in areas least affected by the dry spell. Former Contractor General Greg Christie has labeled the disparity in the fines for breaching the Contractor General Act and the Independent Commission of Investigations Act as a national disgrace. Mr. Christie made the comment following the conviction of 8 members of the Jamaica Constabulary Force for breaching the Indicom Act. The cops were found guilty of failing to comply with a lawful requisition from the investigative body without lawful justification or excuse. The offense carries a fine of up to $3 million or a prime term of no more than 3 years. However, Mr. Christie points out that an individual who commits the same offense under the OCG Act faces a fine of up to $5,000 or 12 months in prison. And the former Contractor General says the situation regarding criminal breaches of the government's procurement rules is worse. He pointed out that offenders can face a fine of as little as $1,000 or 3 months in prison. Human rights lobby group Jamaicans for Justice has appointed an interim board following the fallout of its controversial sex education program in 6 privately run children's homes. Former board directors Dr. Carolyn Gomes and Susan Goff and chairperson Lisa Lacan Chen have resigned over the matter. So too has the executive director Kay Osborne, and Dr. Barry Wade has been appointed chairman of the interim board. He has insisted that the internal review of the sex education program implemented in 6 children's homes, which was put out by the previous board, is flawed. According to Dr. Wade, the report contained misinformation and inaccuracies, and the review process itself was questionable.
We have not been able to determine who carried out the review. We have not been able to determine exactly how the review was carried out. We only know that persons who are closely associated with the program were not interviewed, and so we find that that's a significant flaw in the review. The results of the review indicates to us that the context and content of the program were not examined in depth, because the conclusions don't seem to bear to our understanding or the context of the program.
The review concluded that children in some of the homes may have been exposed to content that might not have been appropriate for their ages. The JFJ board also conceded that this was due to weaknesses in the oversight and vetting process. However, Dr. Wade says the membership stands by the sex education program and will be moving to clear up misinformation about the initiative. Jamaica last week recorded its 2nd case of the Chikungunya virus, and the Director of Emergency in the Health Ministry, Dr. Marion Bullock-Decas, is urging citizens to take precautions when traveling to countries where the virus has been reported.
We are ready to respond, but it's not at this stage yet where there is international spread at the level that we need to go to the public to say, our plan is in place, this is what you should do. But certainly the forecasting epidemiologically is something that we do with our international partners. And yes, we are ready to deal with whatever the eventuality is.
The Health Ministry said both cases involved people who have traveled outside of Jamaica but did not disclose the countries they visited. Dr. Decas says when traveling, individuals should ensure that they protect themselves from mosquito bites by using insect repellent containing DEET and covering their body as much as possible. And that's it for this edition of Jamaica Now, your weekly review of the big news stories. Send us your comments at onlinefeedback@gleanerjm.com. You may tune in to Power 106 FM for regular updates. Follow us on Twitter at Jamaica Gleaner and on Facebook at Gleaner Jamaica. I'm Carleen Brown. As we go, Day 7 was a golden day for Team Jamaica at the Commonwealth Games in Scotland. Today we'll bring you the highlights captured by ace photographer Ricardo Makin.